What is the place in which you get stuck? What is the stuck area?
In believing in my thoughts.
Yes.
Just so much negativity and energy is coming to this body, and, and even if I try to watch, to observe, it's so strong that I get caught in it. There's no space.
Yeah. So it's very difficult to manage unless you zero in on who the culprit actually is. Because the culprit sometimes seems like there's too much negative energy, there's a complete lack of space, people around me, or my emotions, thoughts. So the culprit is only one. You know what I'm going to say. So the culprit is always only the next thought. You see? Because for you to run out of space or for you to have too much of anything negative or positive, you have to be limited first. The unlimited one cannot be constricted in terms of how much they can take of anything because they're unlimited. Yes or no? Can the unlimited take an infinite amount of everything and not be affected by it? Are you with me? You can start again if you want. The unlimited one, can it not take an infinite amount of anything and not be affected by it? It can. So first you have to become limited or take yourself to be limited. For anything to become too much negativity, too much lack of space. You see? Now, what is the way in which you can take yourself to be limited? Or is that organically our situation that we are limited?
We have to believe in the thoughts.
You see? So only through belief, and can you believe two thoughts at a time? You see? So it is merely this thought, one thought, you see, without which there's no problem, with which you take yourself to be completely different from what you really are. So get this point that nobody will ever believe a thought and be free from the hypnosis of the thought, which is the limitation. Nobody will ever do that. To believe in the thought is to buy into the hypnosis and the narrative of it, which is that to take yourself to be an object, you see, to take yourself to be limited. On the flip side, it is impossible for you to do that without a thought. As much as the thought will resist that. The thought itself will say, no, not always me, it's sometimes the body, sometimes something else. No, always only the thought. You see? So if this point is clear, then it's very simple because you've identified the source of the trouble. And once you identify the source of the trouble, then to fix it is quite straightforward. If that's what we really want to do. So it's like the car is there, it's not running. So fix it. How will you fix it? Come on. Okay, this is becoming a discourse. So a car is not running, you have to fix it. What do you have to do? Huh? Okay, mechanic. So what will the mechanic do first? Will he fix the whole car? Huh? Check what the problem is. No? So first you have to diagnose what the problem is. So we have already diagnosed the problem in the human condition, and I'm telling you the problem, the only seeming problem in the human condition is the belief in what a thought is offering you, which is a version of reality, which is just not true. Because in that version of reality, you are a limited entity, which is a bundle of food mostly. You see, a flesh bucket. So, but without that, you cannot be that. You cannot take yourself to be that. Can you take yourself to be a body without a thought? Try to do it. Just organically be the body. See? You may notice that the sensations are still there, but you also notice that the sensations are happening within you. You see? Just like every perception is happening within you. But once you buy into the narrative of the thought, you are this bundle of sensations. You take yourself to be this bundle of sensations. And once you give yourself a shape in that way, then the shape can be shaken. Yeah? Then it is just asking for trouble. Then onslaught after onslaught, emotion, thought, people, energy, magic, all kinds of weird things can happen to you. Without that, nothing. So get it clear that till this top story is not empty, you will not get it. It's the opposite of school. In school, they tell you better get it here, otherwise you'll never get it. Here, this has to be empty. Without that, all this is just talk. It's useless. There's no point hearing any of this. If it's just going to be got here, you see, without the mind being empty, head being empty, there's no point. So, open and empty is a simple way of putting that. Just be open. Because sometimes when you hear just empty, what may happen is that you may feel like, no, I want to defend the emptiness from anything that comes. So don't, you can't come. I want to be empty. Okay? So, what happens when we say open and empty is that anything can come. Everything can come, but nothing can stay. All of us know this. What is your discovery the instant that you are empty? What is empty? What happens when you are empty? Let's break it down today. When you are empty, you don't know. When you are empty, you don't know anything except that which is true. So many years back, we had this small whiteboard here that was the remnant of an office we used to have in this part of the house. So on that whiteboard, I got someone to write, maybe Chinmay wrote down saying, what was my favorite thing to say those days, you may remember also. If to know even one thing was to know too much, then what do you know when you know nothing? It can just sound like a bundle of words. If to know even one thing is to know too much, what is it that you know when you know nothing? So I just said that don't know anything. And that is the only way to know the truth. The instant you start to know, that is the start of all the trouble. So to be empty is to not know anything. So it means to be conceptually empty. Conceptually empty, that's all. You don't have a conceptual version of anything that is. What are we full of? We are full of conceptual knowledge about things that we think they are a certain way, that we think that they are. To be empty of that is to come to the truth. So what is it that you know? Can I ask this question now after many years? It didn't really hit home 5, 6 years ago. Have we moved along since then to be able to really look at this question?
That I am.
Know that you are. Know that you are. And the you that is, or the I that am, is that known or not known?
It's me. It's me.
Isn't that what we wanted? To realize the self? But it's not known in the way we thought it would be. It's not known as a concept or an experience. So are we just making it up then? Because beside concept and experience, is there anything? Yeah? And this question you can't really speculate about. You have to meet for yourself and confirm, or to say, no, nothing happened. I'm empty, but I don't know the self. What are you talking about? Yeah? Is that possible for you to be empty and to not know? Strange, isn't it? Because we wanted to know so that we came to know. Now, to know, you have to let go of knowing. Really? So, empty of knowing, you know the truth. What do you know when you know nothing? You know the reality of what you are. Self knowledge is apparent to you. So, this is to remain in the unborn, to remain free of avidya, to remain as the original Adam without eating the apple. Whichever culture, whichever tradition, whichever religion you want to look at, the main theme is the same. This is the only way to follow God's will. Everyone tells you you must follow God's will. How to do it? By not having a will of your own, by not having a separate identity. So self-knowledge is apparent to us, and that is the only way in which we follow God's will. Here the unlimited nature of your being is apparent. The primordial pulsation of your presence is apparent. And true unconditional love, peace, and joy can be tasted only here. That is the meaning of Satchit Ananda. All is possible only when you're empty. But to be truly empty, you cannot be posing empty. You see, posing empty means empty and waiting. हो गया क्या? I thought I'm empty, but where is God? You see? Can't be empty and waiting, empty and expecting. Just empty. Don't know anything. Can seem like a risk. That's why you need a guru to come and tell you. Because you need someone that you can really trust. So, don't know anything. And it's apparent. So, you can look at this game this way, or you can look at this game outwards in. So, you can start with humility, love, presence, being, self. Or you can look at self, being, presence, love, humility. So, because it is possible to traverse this way and this way, although these are just provisional ways of saying this way and that way, but for a while it can seem true. So, if there's a struggle at any point of it, if you're feeling stuck at any point, all these pointers are available. not feeling any love in your heart, what is the pointer? Yeah. Correct. So suppose you're coming outward in, you see, then it is impossible to feel love, true unconditional love, if there is pride. So become humble. You're not special. Nobody is. We were reading something very beautiful the other day where, in the magnificence of God, you see, given how awesome God is, what is so special about us? What can be? Suppose we became the best, we'll still not be anywhere close to the magnificence of God. So there's no reason for pride. Yeah. Have you ever met anyone who was like proud and feeling unconditional love? It's impossible. It's impossible to be like that, not outwardly, but inwardly, yeah, and to feel unconditional love. And as we saw last time, this unconditional love can be the doorway into presence, into the presence of being. When we check where this love is arising from, it brings us to the Sadguru presence, the Holy Spirit, the Atma. And when you check the nature of this presence, you will conclude intuitively that it is boundless. But its boundlessness cannot be fathomed with any perception. Its true nature cannot be fathomed with any concept. And yet, just intuitively, you know. Just intuitively, you know that you are beyond birth and death, beyond all states, beyond the universe and beyond time and space. As you recognize this, you also intuitively know that you are aware of even all of this, the unlimited nature of being. You are aware of it, but that you is your absolute reality, which no concept can really explain, or we can't really talk about it in any way. This is the reality with capital R. So we've deconstructed the entire lay of the land. So when you hear about a particular practice, about a particular thing, you realize that it's helping you become open, it's helping you become empty. Because nothing else is really needed. So it is spirituality only when it helps you become empty of your false self. And anything else which is constructive to your false self and not deconstructive is not spirituality at all. That is why authentic spirituality is very rare and extremely unpopular. It doesn't give you anything. Okay, so in this framework, where do you get stuck? So, so let's expand on that. So you realize that you need to be open and empty. Now what happens is that you end up believing a thought. So now you have the tools for it. So to remain in unconditional love, and true unconditional love is only for God. Okay? Otherwise, the condition of somebodyness is there. So although we may say unconditional love for our children, our parents, our beloved, whatever we may want to say, but actually unconditional love automatically is for God. If we can't remain empty, then remain anchored in this love. That's how spirituality comes about. So remain anchored in the love. Then somebody will say, but I can't remain anchored in the love. So they say, okay, you chant a mantra. When you chant Ram or Krishna or Jesus or God or whatever, then that reminds you of the love that you feel for God. Then somebody may say, but it doesn't work. If I just say Ram, it just goes away. The mind is too overpowered. They say, okay, you do something longer, do the Maha Mantra, or do the Jesus prayer, or do Gayatri Mantra, do something which allows you not to get so distracted by the thought. They say, oh, no, but I can't remember even to do the mantra, my mind is too active. You may say, okay, no, do some pranayama, do some yoga, sing some bhajan. You see what it's all coming to. But what happens mostly in the world is that these practices are meant to deconstruct us. You see, for us to die to ourselves. But we start building identity around the practice itself. Oh, I chanted the mantra for 4 hours today. I meditated non-stop, 3 hours. And we've all been part of groups or seen groups where that is what the spiritual identity consists of. So that which is meant to deconstruct so that there is no me left, and just empty to the me, that itself becomes a part of the identity. Oh, I had this experience and that happened and then this happened. You see, so it goes from being spirituality which is about God to being really about self-help, which has nothing to do with the self, the smallest self. And in the world, there is space for that, it's fine. But let's not call it spirituality. So, spirituality is that which clears the room for God to arrive. If the lane is too narrow, गली है साखरी, the lane is too narrow, there is not enough room for God and me. So empty the cup, whatever metaphor you want to use, it's fine. So what do you know when you know nothing? Was the answer. This is or the truth. But it is not an achievement in the way of like a traditional knowing. So empty, got it, then back to me. Oh, but I got it. You see, because I had got it. It's not that kind of knowledge. You see what I'm saying? In the empirical type of knowledge, if you learned something, then you feel like you can always refer back to it. So I have it. So you can be a claimant to that knowledge. Self-knowledge, you cannot arrive as the claimant because the instant you arrive as the claimant, self-knowledge is lost in the lila, in the hypnosis of the false self. It doesn't matter, therefore, what happened yesterday. It doesn't even matter what happened 1 minute ago. Because the instant the claimant is taken to be real, then the lane has become full of the me, and there is no space for God anymore. So clear the room, clear the path, become headless.
Believe it or not, that sometimes there is a longing, simply a longing for the God. to- It still comes via the way of thought, although,
The longing for God comes through the way of thought.
yes, because it may come as an imagined figure, a feeling,
Yeah. So,
it's
yeah.
perceptual.
If it is a true longing and not a distraction, then then that is the like a radar or a homing signal. Is it? It is a homing signal that you can follow to its source, which is the pure presence itself. You see, so what is the key? The key is whether it is constructive to your notions about you or it is deconstructive to your notions about you. Yes. So if it is constructive to the notion of me, then you'll be, oh yeah, I had this and I have that, and then this happens, and these lights come on, and then my chakras start shining, and then I see Krishna like this, and I see Ram like that. Hmm? So, but is that adding to your notion of I, hmm, or is it deconstructive to the notion of I, which is that I don't know who I am, I don't know where I am. Everything seems infused with God's light, the holy presence, with the love which is unexplained. So, this is the barometer you can use for true longing versus a distraction. A distraction offers you something that you can constructively gain for yourself. You see, a true longing is a call to surrender, to become nobody. And if you follow that true longing home, then it leads you to the same place. But the mind will not ever long for this. The mind will not long for this. The mind can play the game of pretend spirituality, but the mind always wants something for me. It does not fathom God. It is not designed to fathom God at all. All it knows about is me. So true longing does not come in the form of thought. Many times what can happen is that you may be intuitively sensing a longing or calling from the heart, but your mind tries to distract you by saying, let's do this, that will take care of this, and let's do that, that will take care of this. So it tries to be your friend in this search for God, but really serves to distract you. But as long as the barometer is clear to you, is this about me at all? Or is it truly about nobody, only about God? Still confusing a bit?
Little bit.
As you learn to just stay in your heart more and more, the mind will not be able to distract that easily. The a true longing is just intuitive. Just intuitive. Let's go back 10, 12 years. There was this young boy, maybe mid 30s, whatever, and you had somebody like a Gopala coming to this boy saying, Ananta-ji, I want to come and sit with you. And he has been very accomplished with all various types of spirituality. He probably knows much more Vedanta than I do. But what would make somebody who had done so much spirituality and been in so many high positions and spiritual missions and all of that come and sit with this silly boy on the dining table with a laptop, just speaking of God, because something in the heart intuitively gets the perfume of God. It's not rational, it's not, you can't compute your way to it. You can't build strategies and tactics. So all things are perfectly resolved in the unborn. Those are the words of Master Banke. Actually, if I can paraphrase a bit, we can also say all things are perfectly unresolved in the unborn. Perfectly unresolved. It's clear? So we solved the three branches of philosophy on. First is what? How should I be? Let's start the other way today. How should I be? How should we live? Ethics. How should you be? In the heart or open and empty. Then what is existent, and is there something called true knowledge? You see, so the study of whether there is something called true knowledge and how it can be acquired, it's called epistemology, big word. And the study of what actually is, if anything at all, and why is there something instead of nothing, these kind of questions, that is called metaphysics or ontology. So what is reality? What is true knowledge? And how am I supposed to be? These are the main questions with which humanity has troubled itself for thousands of years. And the answer is the most absurd: to be empty of conceptual knowledge, to be empty therefore of individual will and self-concern. All these is organically, naturally known within our true self. Every go up that pretend ladder a little more. So we said the door to your being, to your presence, the presence of your being is unconditional love. So if you say, I don't feel this unconditional love, my advice is to let go of all pride, all arrogance. You see, pride is usually a blind spot. So it's just like a blind spot. Everybody feels like they're very humble. But once you start looking for it, you start to see, and many of you send me reports. Almost every week I get a few reports saying, Father, I didn't notice how proud I was. I wanted my way so much. I want to be right all the time. I think I know better than most. See, most of you are coming to these recognitions. Then you may say that I taste love, but I can't find my presence. So I would say to you, drown completely, wholeheartedly in this love. Love God with all your might, with every instrument that you feel is available to you. And at this point, then, to be open and empty will become second nature. And as you're open and empty, the boundless, unlimited nature of your being will be apparent to you. Beyond human understanding, beyond any conceptualization, beyond time and space, and beyond birth and death. That being, which is the source and light of all of this play that we call our life, will become known to you as the I am itself. And then naturally, in the presence of this being, the I, which is independent of am and not am, being and not being, existence and non-existence, where no opposites of any sort ever can apply, that absolute reality you recognize as yourself. So my attempt more than anything else, and maybe this answer changes every day, is to infect you with this love for God. Because once you have this God infection, the rest does not seem difficult or like work or a struggle. It's to take you away from the egoic infection of me to an unconditional love for God. It's very easy for anyone who doesn't have any or doesn't have much self-concern. You're constantly worried about me, me, me. It can seem very tough. You let go of self-concern, not even 100%. Mostly you're not so bothered about me. Everything I've said is very simple. So before you can chant the Mahamantra for God, we have to stop chanting the Mahamantra of the ego. What is the Mahamantra of the ego? What's in it for me, exactly. Many years ago, actually, one of the founders of a very large company in India, he said to me, to be successful, all you have to always remember is that how are you solving what's in it for me, for people. And the irony of life is that for so many years, I've just been saying there's nothing in it for you. But that is the nature of the human condition. That is also the nature of the me centered false spirituality.
So does willpower. God for me, God for me. Every trick in the book has been tried, God for me. Take it with one more.
Yes.
God for me.
The lay of the land is clear before I mess it all up again. In America, there was a TV show. I was seeing the ads on TV. So there's a TV show about Lego. And I saw the ad for it. And I was like, we have a TV show about Lego. So what they do is that they build these huge Lego creations, and then they just take a hammer and blast through all of it. Start again. So it's very Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. So this lay of the land is important in the sense of, to get a sense of what all of this is about is important. But if you start to worry too much about the framework, things like that, then it really can also get in the way of just being empty, of just being surrendered. So if I feel like that is happening, then I'll say it's all rubbish. It's all rubbish anyway. I'll remind you that it's just like a conceptual framework pointing to that which is beyond the realm of concepts. Shell shocked? Looking at that expression. Shell shocked.
Beloved Father, it's still very much, now what should I do? Like, still
Yeah.
constantly now
But
what should I do?
what's still very much that?
Me.
Not you. It's just your mind.
Yes, the mind.
Just your mind. Just a thought.
And the spiritual ego is easiest to get into because you feel,
Yes, yes,
let's be the improving book.
yes,
If you do the mantra japa,
yes. And the thing is, there's nothing inherently wrong with any of that. And that's why I remember what I told you in terms of, are you constructing or are you deconstructing? Are you trying to get better or are you trying to become nobody? Are you trying to become better at being nobody?
just empty it. Just empty.
Yes. So what does that need?
You need a Bhagavad Gita, it needs a mantra.
Just to be empty.
Yes. Nothing.
I will record this click sound. It can seem like there are times in life where all those things help us to be empty, and that's completely fine. But the trickster will deceive you and try to make you better at this game rather than getting rid of you. So you can't inhale the drug and say, I want to be sane. And we have localized precisely where the problem is. Problem is belief in the content of your next thought. That's all. The mind will say it is this, it is that, it's just a thought. Many years in satsang we just spent saying it's just a thought. Just a thought. And some children used to get upset and say, what is it? Just a thought. Why do you say it's just a thought? Isn't the mind also consciousness? I said, but I'm just saying a thought is just a thought. Like a road is just a road. But why does that seem to upset us? Because we've given it more reality than just a thought. It's not just a thought. It doesn't seem like just a thought because it's our identity. It's our belief systems. And there's nothing, probably nothing actually, that we hate in humanity more than an attack on our belief systems. Yeah. And there's nothing great about that. It's just because we feel like I've done so much work to try and get just the right set of beliefs. Now you have to come and demolish it all. That's why we don't like it. It's not some great project or something. No. We feel like we constructed all this. Are you saying it's all zero? Yes. We still want to make it work. In the stock markets, it is called good money chasing bad money. We still want to make it work. Still feel like, oh, it'll come back. So we feel like I can still make my identity work by polishing it, by making it spiritual, by making it sattvic, by making it nice and sweet and all of that. But when we start to see that nothing works, except to be just rid of it, then it can seem like the most difficult project at some point. Most difficult project. You feel that what is the meaning? What is the value? All these big questions start coming. What does my life mean? And we see that all of our sense making actually has just been nonsensical. And we'll leave ourselves at peace. All the sense that we have made has just become a layer on top of the inherent intelligence which is already there. Make sense? Then get the joke. It's so strange that actually it came to me that everything I've said today can be covered in two phrases. What are the two phrases? It's a Zen set of phrases: heart full and head empty. Heart full, head empty. That's not the other way around. Head full and heart empty. Was it something I said? अभी तो हंस रही थी. No, no, I'm telling. Yes, but say it because sometimes it's better to just expose the thought than to not do it. Yeah. Yeah. Are you saying organically like that, or like you're thinking about it and saying, yeah, then it's fine. Just have to let go at the level of thought. Then tomorrow, if a tiger comes in front of you and Still some fear arises, and some fear arises. Or it comes in front of you and no fear arises, and no fear arises. Life can still continue with its tastes and flavors and all of those things. It is not to come to some sort of a robotic and bland existence. But we are not to put ourselves in a location, give ourselves a reference, a locus, a narrative, empty of all of that. In fact, the taste of life may seem to get amplified. Many feel that after you're free, then you won't have feelings anymore, you won't taste food anymore, you won't need to sleep. None of these things will happen to you. It's not true. All this can still play out or no. It's only that there is nobody to lay claim to any of that. There is nobody who's writing the autobiography. Therefore, there is no separate entity, no presumed separate entity anymore. What is humility? Humility is simply that you cannot be your favorite anymore. There's a Hindi movie called Jab We Met. That there's a character that Kareena Kapoor is playing. So she has a line saying, "मैं अपनी favorite हूँ." She's saying that I am my favorite person in the world. And then what happens? She gets slapped around in life, like, to a point where she's let go of all of that. And then, of course, the movie. So then her life starts to mend itself again. So in a way, it's a good metaphor. Whatever we take ourselves to be is not that important that we spend all day thinking about. It reminded me was from Swamiji who came. So I told him that if you cannot be empty of the narrative, at least change the central character in the narrative. So he changed me only, but that was still worth a shot. Some may find it very difficult to be open and empty. For those who just can't be empty of a narrative, let that narrative become about God, Guru, Self. Self being capital S.
When you change the narrative
But is
about
it easy for you to be open and empty?
Yes, it
Then
is.
don't worry.
Except for the work aspect, which is an issue. So there, I mean, so I do the work for the God. Is that
Yeah.
that the way you change the
Also,
direction?
God does the work for God. What is that? करते हो तुम कन्हैया, मेरा नाम हो रहा है. What is that? You know Hindi?
No, I don't know.
It's a song to Krishna where the singer, the composer is saying that आपकी कृपा से, because of your grace, everything is happening in my life and you do it, but I'm just getting the name for it or the credit for it. And many times the blame for it.
The central character
Yeah.
of the work aspect in your life.
Like often I used to say we don't know how to move a finger also, but we take credit for so much. Okay. If I had a singing voice, I would just become a kirtan wala. I'm very happy. Huh?
I think it doesn't matter. Like once you sing in that love, it becomes sweet.
Really? You've not heard me sing.
I was telling about myself.
Yeah. That's here today now.
Actually, sing it or not? Can you be Kirtan?
Huh?
Can you do Kirtan?
Can you become kirtan walas?
Can you also become Kirtan?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I see she tries to keep up, no, with the lyrics at least. Hanuman Chalisa. Because we took this super fast version. Many of these singing saints, no, also in Maharashtra, the Tukaram and Namdev. And so if you look at the way the Kabir Panthis spread the knowledge so beautifully with song and like sometimes and Praladji sings, no, they say, "Hey bhai, oh bhai." So it's just like you're sitting on the side of the road and people are just going about their work and you're trying to get their attention for 2 minutes to just hear something which will probably change their entire life, but they don't realize. So what happens? What do we think about most of the day? Things to do with me. No? Things to do with me. What will help me? What will, if you're spiritual, then what will give me spiritual progress, better experiences, um, pleasure seeking, pain avoidance. All these narratives are about me, me, me. But we just talked about these bhakti movement sages, and what happened? They stopped thinking about me and it became about God or Krishna, and everything was about. So, change the central character in the narrative is as good as being open and empty, because there is no ego there. You can't build an ego for someone else. So one of the best parts about having a guru is that you can make your life about them. Not for, if you make your life about them for their sake, it's not that they get something out of it or they want that to happen, but you get rid of your ego in that. So a simple example of that is something I heard from Radha Swami, but I'm sure many use it. Don't tell your guru how big your problems are. Tell your problems how big your guru is. So just simple things like this. They sound very naive almost at some level, but just allows you to make your life about the greater rather than just this little me who doesn't even exist. We can't even say little. Yes, yes, yes. Don't tell your guru about how big your problems are. Tell your problems how big your guru is. Very sweet. I found it very nice. She will also stop asking questions. Yeah.
Like it's about that listening to the heart voice.
Yes.
So, like when I take a question to the heart, I can hear that question being said. I can hear that voice.
Okay.
The answer also is a voice coming from there. So
Yes. And this
if,
voice is not a thought.
it's in words. It's not a thought. You mean it's not from the mind?
Yeah, it's not from the mind.
It's the voice is not in the mind.
Not in the mind.
So the voice I can also control when I ask a question. So what if I'm only like giving myself the answer I want?
That's not really my experience, although we could Advaita it away and say, yes, ultimately it is your voice only, but my experience is not that it doesn't seem like an arising. What does it mean? This voice is there. What does it feel like?
The resonance is there, sort of, but it is a voice.
Yes, but when you say I can control it, what do you mean?
I mean,
Let's
like
get
say,
that voice to say something now.
yeah, do I exist? That voice said it, I said it.
Okay, and now wait for the answer.
Hmm.
There.
Not. Sometimes I felt it's sort of there as a voice right now.
Yeah.
But I'm not so sure. I kept asking again.
Allow
Like,
it to just come out of your emptiness.